Good evening. I am the District Clerk, Teresa DeLiva. I am the temporary chairperson of this meeting. Once the president is elected, I will turn the meeting over to the president. I call this portion of the meeting to order at 7:39 p.m. Please rise for the salute to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will start the meeting by noting the attendance of the board members. We have Ms. Andrade, Ms. Jennings, Ms. Krieger, Ms. Cuban, Mr. Negrin, Mr. Salazar, and Ms. Smith. Right now, I will administer the oath of office to Mr. Francis Salazar and Ms. Lauren Cuban, who are starting their terms tonight.
We don't swear in Charlotte yet. No. Later? Yes.
I know we do it sometime.
Should we do it after the district treasurer? After Teresa, the district clerk?
It's fine. Either way, it'll be fine on that screen. Sure.
Member of the Board of Education of the Patchogue-Medford Union Free School District. According to the best of my ability.
Teresa, it's Larry in front of the screen, just for picture purposes. It's a little glary.
Okay, yeah.
She signed inside. Okay, now I'm going to call for a nomination for the Board of Education President for the 2025-2026 school year.
What did you say? What was the position?
The president.
Nomination for the President?
Oh, that's me.
I nominate Kelly Jennings. Second?
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Congratulations, President Jennings.
Shift seats?
Okay. And now let's administer the oath of office.
We gotta wait for it.
Well, no, I didn't have enough hands. I just let it down.
I got it. I think I'm a better angle. I do.
Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
and will faithfully discharge the duties of
President of the Board of Education of
President of the Board of Education
the Patchogue-Medford Union Free School District
of the Patchogue-Medford Union Free School District
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations. Thanks. Now President Jennings will take over.
All right, thank you, everyone. So I will now call for a nomination to elect the Vice President.
I would like to nominate Diana Andrade.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
I, Diana Andrade, do solemnly swear according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Now we'll move over to the administrative the oath to the interim superintendent, Mrs. Kennedy.
I state your name.
I, Lori Kennedy,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of
interim superintendent of schools
interim superintendent of schools
of the Patchogue-Medford Union Free School District
of the Patchogue-Medford Union Free School District
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Kelly, great job.
Okay, next we're going to move on to appoint the district clerk, Ms. Teresa Leva. So could I have a motion to?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
All right, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Teresa DeLiva,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of district clerk
the duties of district clerk
for the Patchogue-Medford Union Free School
for
District
the Patchogue-Medford Union Free School District
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability. Thank you.
Sorry.
Congratulations. Next, we're going to move on to district treasurer. I don't see her here, but can I have a motion to appoint Virginia Newell as district treasurer?
I'll make a motion. You got it.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good job. All right, next we're going to move on to our ex officio student member. So we're going to make a motion to appoint Miss Charlotte Lake as our ex officio student member.
Oh, second.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Yeah, just in front of the screen is kind of, you got it?
That I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of ex officio student member of the Board of Education for the Patchogue-Medford Union Free School District according to the best of my ability. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Charlotte.
Next, we're going to move on to District Audit Committee. We're going to make a motion that the two board members will be Trustee Negron and Trustee Kuban.
motion? Oh, second, sorry.
Yes, you can second. All in favor?
Aye. First, second, third. Congratulations. Yeah. This is like all over the place. Joey, I think Joey or Lori. Joey or Lori are on. I don't want to do.
For the Patchogue-Medford Union Free School District. According to the best of my ability. Congratulations.
Why does this computer keep going? It's small. Why does this keep going? On top of each other, and it's 100 degrees.
Okay, moving on. Are there any questions, comments, concerns on the consent agenda? Okay. Can I have a motion to accept the reorg consent agenda?
Make a motion?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 7-0.
Yes. We're at 37, yeah, very on.
Okay, there were no items removed from the consent agenda. Board member comments? On reorg? No? Anybody?
You can save them for.
Okay, so that ends our consent agenda for the reorg. So now we're going to call to order our regular business meeting at 7:52. At this time, we do have a presentation for the Johnson presentation regarding energy performance, and I'm going to turn that over to Mr. Mazie.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll make this very brief because we have some really interesting information for you, but just wanted to let you know that what you're about to see has been the culmination of almost a year's work that myself and my team have engaged in. And to elaborate more about the energy performance contract and how we arrived to this point in time, I'm going to introduce Mr. Fred Seba. He's the managing partner of BBS. That's the district's architectural firm.
Good evening, everybody. It's good to see you again. So I just want to give you a little history on how we got to this point. So we put out a request for proposals on behalf of the Board of Education for an energy performance contract. It was publicly advertised, and in addition, we sent it to 8 different energy service companies. We got the results back. There were 3 responses to that. There was Renew Energy, there was Energy Systems Group, and there was Johnson Controls. So based upon that, we sat down, we tried to analyze them, we put them in a comparison matrix. The advantage to an RFP versus a public bid is that we have the ability to negotiate scope. So what we did was we sat down with the scope, we talked to the district, and we said, what do you like best about these projects? So they picked the things they liked best, the lighting from one vendor, the solar from another vendor. And then we asked all of those ESCOs, energy service companies, to go back and give us revised proposals based upon the scope that the district wanted. So we received those, we updated the comparison matrix, we then sat back down with the school district and went through it, and we did point totals for each of the energy conservation measures. And as a result, we felt that Johnson Controls had the best proposal out of the 3 ESCOs. Based upon that, we allowed Johnson Controls to take the next step, which is called the detailed energy audit. So they come back out based upon that scope. They bring their contractors back out. They bring their energy engineers back out. They sharpen their pencils. And at the end of that, we have a project that they're willing to guarantee. So it's also called investment grade audit. So they came back to us. As a result, we allowed them to go through that process. They came back. We said, okay, we really like this project. We really like the scope that's in there. The district was very comfortable with that. So what we would like to do is propose and recommend to the district that you sign a contract with Johnson Controls, enter into an energy performance contract, but we wanted to make sure they came in front of the board and were able to present their project to you, which is what they're going to do now, and allow you to ask any questions you might have. So I'm going to let the Johnson Controls team introduce themselves, and I'll stay here for any questions.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Good evening. My name is Kieran Moran. I'm from Johnson Controls, account executive. I have with me tonight Pratik Thacker, my senior energy engineer, Danny Haffel, my senior account executive, and Anthony Marciano is our K-12 director of our team. So congratulations to all the board members and the new administrative staff. Okay, I think we can go to the next slide. Oh yeah, I'm doing these. Great. Is this, am I hitting the right button? There we go. We have an agenda for you, so I'm going to walk you through these slides. And again, stop us at any point you want. I introduced my team. We have done to date 105 projects here in New York through school districts doing projects very similar to this all across Long Island. So, so we're very familiar with the state education department and I guess I would say the rules of energy performance contracting here in New York. Where we start looking is at your utility spends for the district. So you can see on this graph, you spend today about 2.4 million, 2.5 million, a combination of oil and electric, and you can see the breakdowns of 970 and 1.5 before. We have two projects that we're going to present to you this evening, and the savings are rather dramatic. The one project, option A we're calling it, has a 1.2 million in savings, and the option B has about just over $1 million in savings. So again, very substantial in energy performance, but also in terms of environmental impact, as you can imagine, by cutting these bills way down. I'm going to walk you through the conservation measures. So one of the largest energy savers on the electric side is your lighting, and we're going to convert all of your classrooms, hallways, cafes, and offices to new LED flat panels. I'm sure many of you have the LED technology at home. A brighter, whiter light lasts much longer and certainly conducive for learning and test taking and all the things that you want to see in a school. We did do a mock-up in this building, I think in room 124. I think we have a slide on that. We're also going to convert your remaining exterior lights. You do have some that have not been converted to LED yet, so we're going to get those to LED technology. Again, a whiter, better light for security purposes and for lighting your school properties. So that'll be a nice conversion. And then the last part, working with Frank and Paul and certainly BBS, was to try and include the LED sports lighting on your existing high school football field. So that is also going to be included in this job. And the district felt that that was important because I believe through your bond, you're doing an adjacent new field, which will also have new Musco lighting. So the same technology being brought to your old field, if you will. Oh, this is where we did a mock-up. So you can see where we went from the surface-mounted fixtures to a recessed fixture. So certainly a much cleaner look. Light levels were improved. So anywhere you have this type of layout throughout the district, you're going to see this nice, clean look. These are your existing high school sports lights, just a photograph. And then we have a sample from a before and after of another district that was converted to the LED technology. So you can really see the improvement. And certainly one of the things a lot of people are concerned, neighbors, certainly is the dark sky. And you can really not light the entire neighborhood around the school. The lighting is focused on the field. So that's attributed to the LED. One of the other big components of this project is your energy management system, and certainly Paul Noonan and his staff will find this extremely useful as it dovetails with your bond project. So basically, we are taking all of your pneumatic controllers out of the district. You will be full DDC controls, direct digital controls. It allows you a really good window into all of your facilities and your classrooms in terms of temperature, monitoring, certainly for doing trending. So if you have problems areas, you will be able to trend that over time. So really a very powerful tool for the district, driving tremendous energy savings at $137,000 a year. So getting into all of your boiler rooms, boiler room valves. We're going to be doing tying into your air handling units district-wide. You have 9 of them that we're going to be picking up. I talked about the conversion of pneumatics to DDC, so that is really powerful for Paul and his staff. And then your new univentilators that are coming in under the bond are also going to be brought into the DDC system. So you're going to pick those up right away so that the staff can monitor those classrooms as well. Also included are tying in your 76 exhaust fans district-wide. So a lot of times we'll find that sometimes from time to time those are running over the weekend, and so these are all going to be tied in. We can schedule these and shut these down when they need to be shut down. And then the last one is optimal start, turning your boilers on and your systems on when they need it to be turned on and shut off when they should be shut off. So we call that optimal start. Again, driving the energy savings and not having waste. We are also including in our project new rooftop unit replacements. There's 14 district-wide, and you can see where these are. Some of these are reaching the end of their life, and we made sure that these were not covered in the bond, so this is separate from your bond work, so just keep that in mind. Again, because these are old and inefficient, we're going to find energy savings about $50,000 a year from these, so nice improvement to those areas. Next measure that we're looking at is doing, as you can see, new power flame burners, and this is going to be on all of your boilers throughout the district, so you can see the count of 22. And again, you're leaving behind these boilers, these burners that are Honeywell linkageless controls. The parts are hard to find. The new burners are very efficient and certainly needed by Paul and his staff. I'm sure he would agree that this will be a wonderful upgrade for the school to get away from those burners. Again, $62,000 a year in energy savings, so efficient equipment. And this is where we had, through the last year, working with Frank and BBS, where we tried to do photovoltaics, and we applied for each of your schools to PSE&G. That's what you have to do. You have to say to them in an application, I want to put solar on this school at this location. This is how much I'd like to do. They then evaluate that, come back to you with written letters, and identify how much that's going to cost. So those costs really became challenging to us on this project as you look at, I'd say, the bottom half of the list from South Ocean down to Tremont. Immediately my eye is drawn to Barton, that it would cost $345,000 just to put solar there. So we pivoted at that point in our design, and we reduced the size on paper of what we wanted to do with those schools at the bottom. So from South Ocean down to Tremont, we went with much smaller systems. You can see in the table, those interconnection costs with the smaller systems on those buildings go to zero when you do that. So we're trying to stay one step ahead of PSE&G and the costs that they're trying to put onto the district with their requirements. So this is what I'm calling option A. It has an Inflation Reduction Act component to it. Again, another challenge for us, as I'm sure many of you might have heard about this in the new Big Beautiful Bill, that this is under pressure. There are absolutely timelines now associated with doing these IRA projects and getting the money qualified for them. So I think speed is of the essence when it comes to the IRA. And I'm sure that Frank and BBS can advise you of that as well. But I'm going to lay these out for you. So this option A has IRA included. You'll see the financials on that. And we're going to walk you through these. Option B does not. So you'll see the difference between the two. This part of the project, and this was really working with BBS and the district, what we're going to do is recoat the roofs under where we're going to put the roof-mounted solar. So really setting the school up to not have to worry about the roofs where this solar is going. So it's not all the roofs, just where we're putting solar. So we think that's a really smart way to do it so that several years from now, you're not having to remove the panels, redo the roof, put the panels back. So a lot of thought went into this and a lot of design work. Annual energy savings, as you can see at the bottom, it's $426,000 a year, so rather substantial in terms of production coming from these systems. This is the carport that is proposed for for the high school lot. As you can see, we have some other renderings. This is a rendering actually of your lot at the high school. You can see it, with students under it and cars parked, so give you an idea of what this would look like if it were installed. And we have several of these across Long Island, so if you wanted to see one of our other schools, and I think we actually did the one right here in town at the, right by the train station. That is a Johnson Controls project, so they did an energy performance contract with us, the village, not the town, sorry. This is option B with no IRA. So really where you see the reduction is at the high school. We pivoted from the carport to the roof and did a smaller system. So these are the two things that you're going to work with Frank and VBS to decide which of these paths you would like to go down. Either is fine for us, but we need to be aware of the implications of the IRA, and that potentially going away would force you to pivot to this one if that goes away. Annual energy savings on this offering is $209,000 a year in energy savings. This is a graphics package that we put at all of our school districts, really for interaction with, I'd say, the higher level students, your high school level students, so that they can see the production online of every building and they can do some analysis. We have curricular programs that we offer to schools around the solar, so again, that would be your assistant superintendent for curriculum could work with us and decide what was appropriate, and we have all levels from kindergarten all the way up to to high school. So again, it's what you want to, what you can embrace as a district. I know you have a lot on your plate, but we do offer those, and some of them are really nice. We are under a little bit of a time constraint, so these are the other measures in the job. I highlighted the main ones, but these are all the other things that are included as part of this bundle of energy performance contracting projects. So we list them up there. They tend to be smaller in size, as you can see on their output, but again, helps us drive the rest of the project. I'm going to go over the financials now of the two offerings. So this is option A with the IRA, and again, these projects do not require voter authorization. They don't raise your taxes. They are required by SED to pay for themselves in under 18 years. The benefits come in through your annual energy savings at $1.2 million a year, guaranteed by Johnson Controls to you. So if we fall short, we write a check for the shortfall. We try to be very detailed in our calculations so that we don't have to do that, but there have been times where we missed the mark and we contractually had to write a check, so that happens. Not that often, though. Also, the annual O&M savings, obviously a lot of the older equipment that I spoke about requires a lot of operations and maintenance, as you can imagine, and so by putting in the brand new equipment, it does drive about $300,000 a year in terms of O&M savings, so substantial. Guaranteed rebates are from PSE&G. Those come directly to the school district, so when we're done with the project, we file on your behalf, and then those are also guaranteed. Should we fall short in our estimate, we write a check for that as well on the rebates, and that happens quite a bit because PSE&G constantly changes the program. So unfortunately, we've written a few guaranteed rebate shortfall checks. The next one is this estimated IRA benefit, and I purposely put estimated there because it feels like it changes every day from the federal government. So as of today, we believe that's what it would do. So I think we're going to have to really keep our eye on this and what those requirements come out of Washington, D.C., what they drive that to. Positive cash flow, so the combination of all the good things here drives $19.7 million back to the school district over its life of 18 years. So really, and even option B is very good as well. I'll show you that in a second. This is what option A's cash flow looks like. So in year one, you're repaying the debt for this, so you would do a tax-exempt lease. It's about $2.6 million, as you can see, that you would pay back over 15 years. So every year it's $2.6 million. Guaranteed annual energy savings, and you can see all the positives coming back. So a net cash flow right in year one is $420,000 positive to the school. When you do that, the total column shows it over the 18 years, so that's that $19.7 million. We have an interest rate of 4% in this projection, and your NICEAD aid, which is wonderful aid, at 73.3%. So that drives that NICEAD aid number. You can see in the middle there at 1.4 million. So that's coming back from Albany to you in your aid payments. So really helps drive these projects. This is option B with no IRA. So the carport at the high school gets reduced, goes away, and we pivot to the roof. Again, you can see the project size comes down to 24.4 million. Annual energy savings drops from the 1.2 down to the 1. The O&M stays the same, rebates stay the same, and the positive cash flow is less at 17.3 million. I think the other one was 19. So again, both options are wonderful projects. You just have to decide which one you're most comfortable going for. This is that cash flow as well. So you can see the breakout here. Actually, cash flow is a little bit better in year 1 on this option B at 523 positive back to the district. So that's because your tax-exempt leases are lower on this smaller option. So that is helpful. Again, 17.3 million over its term back to the school. This is our tentative timeline. So we hope to authorize the EPC in August. We then need to work very closely with BBS because they will file on your behalf to the State Education Department. So we hire them as part of our project. They would submit to the SED in November of 2025. And with approval and financing, we're targeting about March and approval of 2026. Construction starting in April, and then the final completion the following October 2027. So again, this is always fluid, but in any event, this is how we see it today. Okay. And that is my last slide. Thank you.
While you're there, Kieran, first of all, thank you. Just a couple of things, because he did himself an injustice in certain regards by not sharing some of the things with you. Can you cue up the presentation one more time, please? Because he does have layouts of all the schools. If you need to see visuals, we can also share this out with the board and the community so that we have it available. But you can see it. A lot of thought and effort went into this, back and forth, trying to find the optimal way to put together this project. The reason we are we want to move on this quickly, is, as he mentioned, is that IRA. It's to the tune of 1.8 million. We don't want to lose out on that. There's too much of an advantage for us to get a better system at the high school, and you see the numbers prove out over the long run, which is why we want to do it. And I commend him and his team, and really my entire team and the BBS team, because this has been a lot of people coming together over a great period of time. And like I said, back to the drawing board. What about this? Can we change that? How do we do this better? We think the benefits for this, as you saw him go through, are going to be, the burners, right? They're not going to be tangible to somebody. But the classroom lighting, the hallway lighting, the sports lighting, and then the solar. Remember, this is where this started. If this board remembers, this started with an interfund transfer conversation. I want to say it was 22, and that was the charge that was given to me at the time to start looking into and exploring what solar could look like. So really, it's almost been the culmination of 3 years worth of work. But really, I can't thank them enough for what went into this, because, like I said, there's some really wonderful things packed into this. Did anyone on the board have questions for him?
Oh, yeah.
I did not read that bill, as opposed to, like, when does the Inflation Reduction Act funding go away?
That's a great question.
Oh, the words I was going to try to come up with, and just couldn't let any of them out.
It's 2027, December 2027.
So we have a little bit of breathing room.
A little bit.
A little bit. Okay.
Yeah, and it's open for interpretation because they haven't given full guidance on components of solar panels and what components have to be made here in the U.S. and what don't. So it says it there, but it's not specific yet. And I know that's frustrating to everyone in this room, especially us. But yeah, 2027 is the answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for taking the dark skies into consideration.
Oh, good.
That's great. Why, I did not, it was quick and I didn't get, why was the solar expense so much? I mean, I understand with this new budget bill that passed, all electric rates nationwide are going to be going up. But why did the solar expense go higher on those smaller buildings?
Oh,
Like,
those,
what was involved in there?
that's from PSE&G. So
Right.
that is a new twist for us as well, where they're pushing back on school districts, which we don't agree with, and saying, yeah, you want to put solar on, well, guess what? We have to protect our grid from you, the school district. And so
Okay.
they're saying, to do that, you need to put these safety systems in for us, the utility, to protect our grid if you want to put solar on. So yeah, I agree with you there. It's frustrating. And that's why we pivoted to the smaller sizes of below 50 kW. They don't require those protections because it's a smaller system on option B, if you will.
Would the smaller system be expandable after we can yell at the
Yeah.
utilities for
Oh,
a while?
sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, technically, this would be our second phase of energy performance contracting. We did one many, many years ago. And I might not be here to do the next one with you, but I did the first one. So here for the second one, maybe the third, I don't know. But yes, that's a great question. And there's certainly a lot of roof space available on those roofs. With the smaller 50 kW, you can go much larger because you still have a lot of footprint up there. So if rates were to rise in the future, that makes the financials that much better. It's more enticing for you to put solar on at that point. So you're spot on with that assessment if that happens. Yeah.
Okay. Another question is, we kind of just had the roofs redone. Can you explain why we need to recoat the roofs before we put more solar on it, or any solar on it?
The roofs that we were targeting, those particular roof areas were not done. So, they weren't. So that's why we're recoating those.
Frank, can you just go back and explain to Bernadette, like South Ocean, for example? With the roof, yeah.
Well, there were a couple of issues. The one I think you're referring to, Trustee Krieger, is we were actually talking about the structural issues because we were set to come to the board several months ago. And to their credit, as they're going through their analyses, they realized that some of the roofs at 3 or 4 buildings, I believe it was, in particular, had some structural issues. So they said, wait, before we tell you we can certainly do this, they looked at the size of the grid system that's going to go on top of our roof and the building integrity to make sure that it could actually handle that. So that led to a lot of these conversations, and that's how we ultimately ended at the part where they said, well, here's what we need to do at each building, and the roof recoating was one of the ways that we could extend our warranties on the existing roofs. And that's when they were determined, like I said, what areas they were going to go, what areas had been done previously, and which areas hadn't.
Okay. I think I'm happy to hear about the curriculum program for PV.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions?
I actually have a question.
Sure.
Do any of the classrooms already have these lights in it? I sometimes find LED lights to be very bright. Can they be dimmed in the classroom?
They can, yep.
They can, okay.
And they come with dimmable systems as well, so we can set them. And if a particular teacher or students are light sensitive, we can literally turn them down. So, to
But the
level.
teacher can't do it on their own?
Well, we're not. We'll do that for them. We'll set that in the beginning.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome.
So then they all have to be set the same way?
Or modified. We'll come through with Paul and his staff when we're done, and and we can always come back if there's a particular teacher that's it's bothering, then we can modify that after the fact. It's not. We're all over Long Island doing other projects with our lighting team, so it's not a big deal for us to come back and adjust a few classrooms. We do it all the time, so it's very.
When in the presentation, you said something about who would have control or access of that? Is that what you were talking
Not
about?
but that's Paul Noonan and his staff would be on the direct digital control, so the heating, the cooling, temperature control.
Temperature.
Sorry.
Okay, so.
Thank you, Frank.
So then my question is it going to be different than it is now? Because I know, and I'm asking this question with outside guests coming in. Sometimes custodial staff doesn't have the access to control cooling or heating in events that we host. So will that be
Frank,
different? Will it be the same?
We provide the training to whatever staff the district wants, and
Okay.
then they determine what levels of who has control and who doesn't. You know, I don't know if you want principals having control, but that's up to you. You know, rarely do I see that. It's usually district level staff, like Paul and his,
Mr.
the
Noonan
people
and
that he
his
picks.
team will have the control, and they can certainly, you know, provide those permissions and the training to anybody, because that's the goal.
Okay, thank you.
This is kind of like in my building when it's too hot or too cold and we call maintenance and then they adjust it? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was nodding. The records show I was saying yes.
Well, and thank you again. And if you have any follow-ups, certainly send them to Frank, and he'll get them to our team, and we can respond in writing. Okay. Thank you. Perfect. Thank you. Have a great evening, and have a nice school year.
Yeah, we'll send you copies. Just make sure copies go to the board of the presentation. Give me a copy, because I gave my copy to Charlotte Greg was saying.
I have one other question. I live in the village of Patchogue, and I am regularly driving people to that train station.
Yeah.
I love those solar panels.
Good.
I also know the size of the pile, the piers that
Yep.
they're on, and we have new drivers.
Yeah.
So that's a factor that I think, you don't have to have an answer now, but
Okay.
it's a factor that I think we might want to consider.
We've had other schools paint them. The kids painted them, so they allowed them like to graffiti. I don't want to say graffiti, that's the wrong word, but wrap, whatever. So there are, unfortunately, we need to put them in, and we try to place them in the. My son crashed into our fence in the house, so he's a new driver, so I get it. But the poles where we try to plant them is where the four spots would come together in the middle. So you know, we do the best we can. So. Yeah. My mom's maiden name is Bernadette Smith, so when I walked by, I said, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe it." Thank you. All right, thanks.
All right, I just have to say it, Kieran, just because I don't think you remember me, but your father was my cross-country coach. Was it not, Mr. Moran?
Yes, it was. Oh, wow.
Once you came up, I knew it.
You knew it. Unbelievable. Well, I'm having a lot of Bernadette Smith. You're talking about my father. Interesting. Anyway.
Tiny little world
All right.
here.
Thank you again. All right.
So funny.
Okay, before we move on to public comments, I just want to take a second so Charlotte can introduce herself so that people know all about Charlotte.
Hello, I'm Charlotte Lake. I'm my school's general organization president, and now I'm the student ex officio board member. And I'm really honored to be here and work with all of you guys. It was great meeting everyone. So yeah, thank you for the opportunity. I look forward to it.
Next, we're going to go on to the public comments, just on either the reports and agenda items. So, Teresa, do you want to read the rules?
The rules of, what are we doing?
You'll have 3 minutes to please state your name and your address when you come up. I will let you know when you have 30 seconds remaining, and this is only on consent agenda items and presentations.
Okay, so moving on, can I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
Motion?
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Consent agenda passes 7-0. There are no items removed. Then we have policy. There's a lot of policies up for first reading. I'm not going to read those. It's okay. And there is no actions arising out of exec. All right, then we're going to move on to
Stand correct.
I was just going to say thank you. Yeah, at the end.
after this, we're going to move on to our interim superintendent, Mrs. Kennedy.
So good evening, everyone. I first really would like to thank everyone again. A lot of pride and gratitude for my appointment this evening. I just really want to share with the community. I think I shared that in March when I was officially appointed as the interim, that Patchogue-Medford is not just a place that I work in for the last 24 plus years. It's certainly my home. And I truly admire this district. It has remarkable pride, traditions that really make it a special place. So it's truly humbling to serve in this role this year. And again, I look forward to continuing our partnerships with all of our bargaining units, our families, our parents, our dedicated Board of Education, and most importantly, our students, which is really the heart of why we're here. So thank you again, and I appreciate all the support and allowing me to serve the community that I very much love.
Next, we're going to move on to board discussion topics, which is the recess resolution that we put forth last year and the sunset resolutions. So, Vice President Andrade.
Okay, so last year, we put forth a resolution about recess, and I believe it came super close in the resolutions meeting. I think it didn't pass by 4 votes. So we decided that we would just take a look at it again, revise a few things to clean it up a bit so that it is a little bit stronger, maybe says something a little bit different. I do also want to mention that there is another resolution that was put out by another school district, very similar to what we wrote last year. Some of the wording's a little bit different. They haven't submitted it yet, but it is out there that has been shared with other districts. So I think we just have to have a discussion or decide, do we want to go with our version? Do we like their version? Do we want to propose a combination version so we can put it through? So everybody, we have the revised in front, right? So I'm going to read it out loud so everyone can hear it. Resolved that the New York State School Board Association advocates for the establishment of a minimum of 30 to 40 minutes of daily recess for all elementary students, in addition to scheduled physical education classes. Be it further resolved that NYSBA supports legislative or regulatory changes that would allow recess to be counted toward the 900 hours of required instructional time per year, recognizing recess as an essential component of a whole child education and student development. And the rationale reads, recess plays a vital role in healthy development of elementary-aged children, offering unstructured time for physical activity, social interaction, and emotional regulation. It provides a natural setting for children to develop essential life skills such as communication, cooperation, problem-solving, and adaptability. Through play, students learn to navigate peer relationships, manage conflicts, and practice empathy in real-time, authentic ways. These interpersonal skills not only support positive school culture, but also translate into increased confidence and engagement in the classroom. Furthermore, research consistently shows that periodic breaks from academic instruction enhances focus, reduce behavioral issues, and improve cognitive functioning. Recess is not a break from learning, it is an integral part of it. Prioritizing and protecting daily recess time promotes overall well-being of students and fosters conditions that support both social, emotional, and academic growth. thank you, Kathy. So that's what I worked on a little bit. Do you guys want me to read what the other resolution states, or no, you want to just don't talk about what we have on?
I guess, edit, what's different from last year's?
So what's different, I have last year's, different is just the rationale is a little bit different. We did say advocate for 30 to 4 minutes. I know I had some, some discussions that maybe some of you might feel that we should say a minimum of 30 minutes opposed to 30 to 40 minutes. I'm not opposed to that if that's
My
what.
recollection of the meeting where we lost the vote by a tiny little bit was the objection was mandating 30 to 40 minutes, because there are school districts that are like, I don't want to do, and don't tell me what to do, which is valid. And that was a large chunk of time. So I think if we can figure out a way to, the rationale makes sense, and the crediting recess hours towards academic time, required academic time, was all, everybody loved it, and I think it's a great thing. I think the sticking point was the 30 to 40 minutes.
Well,
required, mandated.
The other school district, they said up to 30 minutes per day. So to me, that's what we're doing already.
Yes.
So that means, I don't know, just in my head, I truly believe it is just as vital and just as important as our academic courses. So if we say up to 30 minutes, well, they could turn around and just say, all right, well, 10 minutes
kind of
is,
capping it.
yeah. So that's where the 30 to 40, again, if we set a minimum of 30 minutes, then that's, saying, okay, well, at least meet us at 30 minutes. Because we know darn well that our kids, technically or officially, maybe some teachers are able to give more, and that's fantastic. But technically, if we go by what's mandated for hours, we only can squeeze 20 minutes and our teachers can validate that. So, which really isn't enough time.
What is it we're trying, what's the point we're trying, if we were to narrow it down to one point, is it counting recess towards academic time or instructional time? That's the word. Counting recess towards instructional time, or is it the number of minutes?
I think it's both, because if we're not saying a minimum of 30 minutes, then if you're not letting the teachers count that into their day, there's really feasibly sometimes no way to get into 30 minutes when they only have a 20-minute window. So if you're saying minimum of 30, then, and it can count towards their instructional, I think it's and, it's not an either or.
So both and.
Can I just refresh my memory, because I don't have my laptop with me today. Last year, were we 30 to 40, or last year was it minimum of 30?
It was 30 to 40 last year. So that would be a change also, that if we put minimum of 30, that would be different than last year.
I think sometimes less is more and less words. Sometimes if you say minimum of 30, then they can give 50 if they have it in a day, but, we're not pigeonholing them to that.
I'm totally fine with that.
I also just had a question. When we're talking about elementary, does that include, or would it include, when you have kids in 6th grade at the middle school? Because I think that is something to keep in mind if it was a mandate, and how would that work at the middle school and
I feel
for
like
6th graders?
Ms. Canetti, you might have something to say on that.
Trustees Jennings were just talking about that. Many schools, 6th grade resides in middle school, which is period by period. So it may be beneficial to define when we say elementary, is it a building that is home to just elementary, whereas middle school serves as elementary/secondary. So it may be very clear to define what elementary is, because for 6th grade, a 30-minute recess would be virtually impossible for schools that are running period by period. So that could potentially be a sticking point if it's not truly defined. So just a thought to consider maybe defining what elementary is. When we specify, maybe you want to specify if the building is exclusively servicing elementary children, which would mean that all the grades have to be of elementary level, or
Like
something
a
similar.
complete elementary population, populated building.
And don't forget, the reason why I say that is, even when we submit our school calendar to the state education department, if you have a mixed building of 6th, 7th, and 8th, you actually have to separate out 6th grade, do one calendar, and then do another calendar for 7th and 8th grade, because different rules apply to get different grade levels based on the hours of instruction. So it's just something to consider as you're putting your resolution together.
So does it make sense to say minimum of 30 minutes, daily recess in all elementary, parentheses, grades K to 5, or PK to 5?
Pre-K, yeah.
Complete elementary building.
Okay.
Complete populate, something with those words.
Complete.
Completely populated elementary building.
Yeah, exclusive of only elementary. Like I said, I think that would just help define what elementary is. Exclusively elementary level would rule out a 6 through 8 building.
You see, we have an attorney at the end popping her head over. Do you have any input, ma'am?
No, I agree with Lori that building that exclusively serves elementary students.
Building, I like
Thank
that
you.
sounds better, building, yeah, that.
Can I also ask, just because I was obviously not part of those conversations last year, do we have a policy right now? Are all the elementary buildings, do they all have a consistent recess policy? I know for my kids, I don't always go by what they tell me when they go to lunch and when they get back, but, you know, it doesn't seem like they're getting shorted on their recess time, so I'm just wondering if there's maybe something that's working in one building that is giving kids 30 to 40 minutes of recess, maybe making sure that's happening in all buildings. Is there a policy for recess right now?
We don't necessarily have a recess policy. What we have is a chunk of time that we're able to allot for lunch and recess that will allow us to still make our mandated hours when we report our school calendar to the state education department, which is 1 hour. A combination of lunch and recess can't exceed 1 hour. So typically, what we've done is, okay, there's a 40-minute lunch, and then the kids will go out for recess, because it does depend. Sometimes we're able to get them out of the cafeteria sooner rather than the 40 minutes, but we discussed it a little last year. There are some contractual obligations that we have to adhere to, and if we do not have enough teachers signed up for lunch duty, teachers have the right to get a 40-minute lunch, which means if there is not enough teachers to bring the children out for recess, then they have to wait for the teachers to come pick them up and take them out to recess, because our teachers take them out for recess. So it's a combination of our contractual obligations as well as who we're able to sign up for coverage. But we do try. I would say a lot of buildings try to get the kids out. Sometimes we stagger lunch periods, so maybe only one group goes in for 20 minutes so we can feed them and get them out, and then another group's in. But I would say on average, 20. Sometimes schools are able to get the kids out sooner with 30 minutes.
I do think changing that wording is helpful, because I know, where I work, teachers do not take kids out for recess, so we have a very structured time. So you may get some schools that push back on that if they don't have as much leeway. We don't do recess, so.
Teachers don't, you have eights that do.
Mm-hmm. And it's very structured, and, so it depends how schools do it.
Mm-hmm. So if we make those changes for the resolved, it would be that the New York State School Board Association advocates for the establishment of a minimum of 30 minutes of daily recess for all elementary, hold on, for building that exclusively serves elementary students, so I would have to look at that for a second. Daily recess. Well, could we say for daily recess for all elementary students, no, that are in a building that exclusive, that's, I have to,
No, I think
Lisa,
for buildings that exclusively serve students.
for buildings that?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Exclusively serve
Okay.
elementary students.
For buildings, okay, so
I
daily recess
understand
for.
what you're saying, that it sounds weird that the recess is for the buildings and not for the kids.
Yeah,
But, you know.
Yeah, I know what you're
believe that
saying,
they would
yeah.
understand what that means.
Mm. Buildings, sorry, I'm just writing this down. Establish a minimum of 30 minutes of daily recess for buildings that exclusively serve elementary students. In addition to scheduled physical education classes, be it further resolved that NYSBA support legislative or regulatory changes that would allow recess to be counted towards the 900 hours of required instructional time per year, recognizing recess as an essential component of a whole child's education and student development. Yeah?
I like it. Just to throw another thing in here, is there any value in putting forward 2 resolutions? One that says minimum recess, and 2 that says add it to the instructional hours?
No, I think
You can't really split them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll combine them, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so this is okay to submit? You guys are okay?
I'm okay with it.
Okay, so then what I would like to do is have ours all written up.
Right.
And then contact the other school that put their resolution out, just to let them know that we're doing it. We changed it. We do like our version because of the wording of what we said. Give them the option, if they want to sign on with us, they can. If they don't, then we just submit it. Are we?
And then they'd be looking at both.
They can look at both, but if ours is in first, then ours would head
Yeah.
more to the table than theirs would.
I think I'm comfortable just putting ours out.
Well, I mean, I have to reach out to them
Yeah.
because I do. Because I feel like,
You very strongly wish to.
well, I feel like it's the right thing to do. I mean, they did not reach out to us, but
So all the more reason.
I know, but.
Well, theirs also
feels-
doesn't
It's
really
different.
make any changes because it says
Correct.
the most 30 minutes.
Right.
Everyone really is getting at most 30 minutes. That could be
Right.
20 minutes or 15 minutes, so
Yeah.
it is actually very different.
Again, if I can just share one other thing to consider, because I know you're concerned about what might be some objections there, and if you really want to get this passed, the only thing I would just consider before you solidify it is that every school district has their own teacher's workday from start to finish, right? And it is important to understand that some districts are going to say, you know, they're going to have to look at their instructional day and kind of back into that 30 minutes to see if you are not including it as instructional time, it does get deducted every day for 180 days towards meeting your mandated minutes, right? So one of the concerns is if you have 30 minutes, but your school day ends at this time, and now you're mandating it, it could potentially cause schools not to make their mandated hours each year. Does that make sense to the board? Every school is different, right? So we may be 7 hours, 12 minutes. Another district may be 7 hours, 25 minutes. There may be a school district that's only 7 hours. It gets harder and harder to make that if you're subtracting out. So I just want to caution, because I know when you go into these meetings, there are going to be some schools that say, well, how are we going to be able to do this and not violate a contract? So it's good things to think about.
Is there the option, I mean, if you can't add 30 minutes, then there's always the option to take away from other places, correct? and then it would work out
But
the
if you're
same?
taking away, and you're still deducting, right, that 30 minutes a day, where is it coming to? You can't take it from someplace.
Well, so, yeah, I mean, and this is coming from someone outside of the box who, again, is, I think, in my feeling of this, and this might not be a popular opinion, or I believe recess is just as important as a lot of our academic things, and I believe our children need to be, right now especially, more than ever, socializing with each other. So to me, this might be totally different than the track we're on, but that's the mind-provoking
Right.
conversations that I believe that this can bring to the table. Do I think this is going to happen in a year or 2 years or 3 years or 4? Probably not. But if the conversations can start to happen, if we can figure out how we can allow our children to play unstructured and recognize the importance of it, that's where my heart is in this. And I just believe it to be just as important, and I know it's like, ugh, but that's
No, I
that's
agree.
what
I just wanted to share with the trustees, again,
Yes.
I think the most important thing is if we feel that strongly that kids socializing and being outside is very important, then counting it as the instructional a piece is what we should be advocating for. Because right now, the calendar is set up where it doesn't honor that, and it's forcing you to take it out, which brings a lot of restrictions. And when you place a time on it, it brings more restrictions to districts, which they are getting. I think the bigger issue is advocating to say, hey, if you have, recess, that's instructional time. Kids are socializing, kids are interacting, kids are playing, and that's just as important as a 80-minute math block. That's what I'm saying we should be advocating, because that's going to help all districts.
Well, we could definitely put that in the rationale. of
Right, and I
what,
think that's what you should do.
Be clearer on that, because that's a
Right.
great point.
Because that's the biggest obstacle.
Can I, wait,
But
I'm just trying to wrap my head around what you're saying. So you're saying if we took the time out of the top paragraph, that more districts would be
If the
aligned with us to then vote for this?
If the state will allow us to include recess as instructional time, that would be our biggest victory, because that is the most difficult thing right now.
Right, because if you take what we feel or believe out of it, there's still contracts that have to be followed.
Correct. Our
Okay,
biggest,
I just want to make sure I'm
our
following
biggest
this.
victory is honoring that when kids go out to socialize, that's instruction. We're teaching kids how to socialize and play together.
If I may,
But
that was one of the, I have 2 points. One, that was the point that I tried to make earlier, but maybe didn't do so effectively.
No.
The objection from the room that we were in was the time. So changing the time by 5 minutes or here or 5 minutes there may bring more people on side, but I think that was the primary objection. Also, we are cautioned to remember that in that room, we are not writing this legislation. We are just asking NYSBA to advocate for this policy. So if that's why I asked, is the policy X number of minutes of recess, or is the policy counted as instructional time? My understanding is that play is inherently learning, and we want it to be counted as instructional time, play.
And if it was more vague, then more people might
More people will come on board, and I really don't believe that there are school districts out there that say you got 5 minutes of recess. That's no good for the kid, it's no good for the teacher, it's no good for anybody. So they're going to try, schools are generally giving some unstructured time.
Yeah,
So to
20
say you
minutes.
must have X number of minutes
Getting 20 minutes.
is making it more difficult for the districts who have specific contracts, and like you have a more structured time, we have a not so different structure. So trying to impose a structure on districts, they're going to push back.
I think it also brings the creativity of the instructors into play, because I remember my daughter having teachers that they would have almost a full period at the end of the day, where whatever they were working on the day, and if it was nice out, they'd get their backpacks and they'd be out on the field before, for that last half hour of the day or last period of the day. So I guess it gives them more creativity to incorporate it into their day and their lesson planning. I'm just kind of
I know.
putting that out there.
I
Sorry.
just,
I know you want to give him an hour every day.
yeah, I would love to give them an hour every day. I worry that it's, I kind of feel like we wouldn't have this conversation if I was proposing to have some other academic something be, counted in an instructional minute. I think because it's recess, people shy away from it.
I don't think anybody's disagreeing with you.
No,
I
no,
think
I know that.
everybody's trying to get it
Pass.
worded so that it gets passed.
But I guess my concern is, okay, so let's say that we do put it in that way without any kind of minutes. There's a part of me that doesn't have a lot of faith in the hands that it's going to be in, and then it's just like, okay, well, 10 minutes of that, I mean, I don't know, we could look at it as 10 minutes is better than nothing, but the goal is really to get that 30 minutes
I
in
also
and
think
see what it will do.
if you were
for our
only
kids.
down by four,
Yeah.
if you were only down by 4 votes last year, and you tweak it a little bit now, and if it doesn't pass again by 2 votes, that will be at it again next year, and, maybe the tweaks will work and it'll change.
On the flip side, if we get the language of instructional time, you may see districts actually add more, because now it's going to help their calendar, right? So it could actually flip it. And then what happens is then every school district can create a policy that works for their district around the minutes, right? Now that we know it counts as instructional time, great. So then you can go to your Board of Education or your board and say, hey, this counts as instructional minutes. Here's our calendar. This is what we can put into our calendar based on our contractual, contract with our teachers and things of that nature. So it does give more local control than to develop a policy, but getting it to count as instructional time is so important, because then I actually think you may get districts that actually add more recess, and could be even more than 30 minutes, because now they have the ability to count that in their calendar each year. It's just a different, way of couching it that may help get it passed. Just for consideration, I
I appreciate your comment, your opinion. Well, I mean, we all have to, it's not just me. What is it?
I truly think that if you take the minutes out, it'll pass.
I mean, then it's very similar to what the other school wrote, up to 30 minutes per day,
No,
but they have
no minutes. And let the school district, because what everybody likes to have is local control.
Yeah.
So like I said, don't tell me what to do.
So
Okay,
if
we
this-
want you
if
to
this
count it
passed
as
tomorrow-
instructional time.
Can we have an hour?
And like we want it counted as instructional time, whatever time you want to give time, but must be given, and it must be counted as instructional time. And the minutes is up to the individual districts, because they have contracts they have to comply with. They have staff that needs to be accounted for.
I totally understand, and if that's what you guys feel is better, then we'll do it that way. There's still just a piece of me that really feels like if we don't say kids deserve at least 30 minutes, that not all kids are gonna get it. Like, that's where my heart is. But if you guys all, I want to hear if you feel like it's a better way and it'll pass, then I'm gonna say okay and trust the process.
I think we have to do, honestly, I understand what Lori's saying. I'm playing devil's advocate here. I understand what Lori's saying completely, And honestly, this was like your baby, and you brought it forward, and we will work with you on however it works, but if it has a better chance of passing that way, but it's not what you want, then I say tweak it to what you want, and if it doesn't pass, you try again. But that, I think that has to be a you decision, because this is, I mean, we'll back you, but this is, you know, something that you feel passionately about and you've petitioned for, and you were very close last year, so.
I'll back you for it, yeah, 100%.
I want to get you a win.
I would love
This
for
year.
this to
I
be a
will
win.
support whatever it is. I mean, this is, you drew this up, you
So
took your time
what,
doing
do
it.
we
It's
have
got
to,
the
we have
best
to decide though
intentions.
now, right?
You know?
We have to vote on this, right?
Yeah, it's due by July 18th, so I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable voting for one or the other if it's not what you want. That's basically my.
Remember, they only vote on the resolution. They're not going to vote on the rationale. So don't worry about the rationale. They read that and go over it, but, correct.
I mean, I know, just the establishment of daily recess, that's how it would say if we took out the minimums, right? The New York State School Board Association advocates for the establishment of daily recess for all elementary for all buildings that exclusively serve elementary students in addition to scheduled physical education classes. Be it
We recommend rather than mandate. Like, it is recommended that policies.
Well, I don't, does it say mandate or does it say?
It doesn't say
It does say anything
that
that mandate
New York-
now.
That the New York School Board Association advocates, we say advocates for the establishment of, yeah, it originally it did.
Minimum of 30 to 40 minutes.
So
Never
we're-
said 30 minutes of daily recess, yeah.
Can I sit on this for a minute? Can we come back to it and then go over the other ones, Cal? It's like I can rewrite it.
Sure, but which ones do you want to go over?
Well,
You're going to sit there to the other.
I know this,
So you want to table this until the end of the meeting and then go on to a different topic and then come back?
yeah, I can just look at it. Well, there's this, can you explain the sunset?
God bless you.
Thank you, sorry. Excuse me.
Then there's the sunsettings, which were back in 2020, so they're up for renewal. And there were some that trustee Andrade wanted to look at. I don't know which ones you wanted to look
How
at.
can I do that? All right, so I won't be able to see. Well,
Remember which ones you wanted to
so
look at.
these.
Oh, the instructional, right?
Yeah. Can you just read that one? Sorry, I just wanted to read this. So these were brought to fruition, right, and now they expired, basically. So if either the district that submitted them wanted to bring them up, they can, but if they didn't, and we liked any of them, we can.
You just want this one?
Oh, sunsetting resolution.
Yes. Sorry, I was asking.
Or do you want this one, because these are three different ones. You just want the first one, the testing one.
Yeah, but did
Those
anything
are
ever
all
happen,
three.
did anything ever come to fruition with this? Like, this was in
That's why they're up for
2020.
renewal. They were adopted, but now they're set to expire, so that's why they're up for renewal, because they're going to be expired.
They kind of did, there's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them, but there's only, yeah.
Why, do you have a favorite, Diana?
Well, there was one, the first one about testing, but, I mean, I think some of it might have been, I don't know, this part hasn't, I don't think. Lori, you can say if it has been.
So it says, be resolved that the New York State School Board Association shall advocate for an overhaul of the current inadequate testing system to more accurately measure achievement in skills, knowledge, and abilities, and it shall do this by working collaboratively with the New York State Board of Regents and the New York State Education Department superintendents, administrators, and teachers to create tests that are developmentally appropriate, of reasonable length and frequency, in which avoid the unintended consequence of narrowing the curriculum, teaching to the test, and reducing level learning and undermining school climate, insisting that education throughout the state be included in all aspects of the creation of standardized tests, and demanding that district's personnel be permitted to examine test results, answer sheets, and their students' responses so that educators can better assess what each child is learning in relation to what is being taught, and so that such tests can truly inform instruction.
I liked that because of the real time. That's the part that, I mean, I don't know if it says real time, but that's, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, that's really the only piece of this. Like, some of this has been addressed, I feel like, but not getting results back in real time.
Right. Well, we are getting the results back a little bit early. I wouldn't say in real time, but with the computer-based testing, the results are coming in quicker, but
The same school year?
It's in, yeah, we get them, last year we got them, I think, almost the end of July, you know, but for the 3 through 8, and the region says we have back. But I guess, are you speaking specifically through 3 through 8 testing?
It doesn't say.
Because I would say the Blue Ribbon Committee and the Portrait of a Graduate are starting to address that, especially at the high school level. Absolutely. I think that's exactly what they've been trying to do.
Yeah.
Right, so they are making strides in that area.
Okay, then that's fine. I don't know. I mean, this, yeah, there was a lot of stuff, but.
The rest of them are kind of more to like
Yeah.
regionalization or something like that.
Okay.
Anything back to that?
Oh, right now? I didn't know how to second.
Should I come back again? Yeah, I think.
Can we just do community comments while Diana does her thinking?
That's right.
Can we go out of order?
Thanks.
You guys want to?
Let me just write it 2 times.
Okay.
Wow.
Trustee and, oops.
While Trustee Andrade is working on that, we're going to move on to community comments. Read the rules.
Please state your name and your address. You will be limited to 3 minutes. I will warn you when you have 30 seconds remaining.
Okay, so my name is Kathy Emma Schaffo. I live at 144 Peconic Avenue, Medford. Community resident for 68 years. First of all, I would like to congratulate our new superintendent, Lori Canetti. You are amazing. And I want to thank you so much for personally seeing me off stage during the fireworks when I was the 50th year graduate on stage. It went dark and she was right there holding my hand. Thank you, Lori. So this is for you. I'll give it to you when I'm done speaking. But first of all, I would really like to say that it was my pleasure being chosen as the 50th year graduate along with Jack Krieger, Jennifer's husband. It was a great honor and a great privilege. I have to tell you, some of you may not know, but 50 years ago when I went to Patchogue-Medford High School, Patchogue-Medford High School was very different. It was a 2-story building. It was still a dirt road. So my recollection of the buses getting me to Patchogue-Medford High School as a little 9th grader at the time was buses trudging through inches and inches of mud puddles. It was a 2-story building, much smaller than it is now. When I sub at the high school and I tell the kids that, they say, "Boy, you're old." And I said, "Yeah, I know, you just failed." But anyway, no, true story. So yeah, it's a privilege and honor to have served that. I just want to say thank you for all of your hard work. I'd like to say congratulations to Lori, congratulations Diana and Kelly and all of you, Trustee Cuban, and Charlotte, congratulations. You went to my alma mater. I went to Tremont, Oregon, and Patchogue-Medford High School. I was in room K18 63 years ago. So yes, this is my picture, my high school graduation picture. 50 years ago that my brother had made up for me. So then and now. But yeah, thank you so much for all you're doing. And I just want to say congratulations and thank you. And you're the best. And just one other thing. Some of you may not have known, but it was an honor to be chosen as the 50th graduate. But going back, when I was 5 years old, I had what Billy Joel has now, hydrocephalus. So I want to share that personal story with you. When I was 5 years old, I Googled Dr. Robert Senstack, and he was my neurosurgeon. He operated on Roy Campanello. So
there's a membrane in the back of your neck where fluid is supposed to go through, and if it closes all the way, you die. So mine was closing. I had 2 surgeries, and there's a shunt from the back of my neck to my heart to let the fluid go through.
30 seconds, Kathy.
Okay, and so, long story short, I needed to learn how to walk all over again. I went from not being able to walk, being paralyzed on the left side, to going to crutches and a wheelchair, and here I am today. So thank you very much, and here I am. Thank you.
Oh, all right, very nice.
Yeah, sorry. Are you talking to me?
Good evening, members of the dais. Joseph Lochavo, resident of Medford. I'd first like to congratulate my sister Kathy on that 50-year graduate. Very, very well deserved, Kathy. And I think you look younger now than you did on the T-shirt. I'd like to congratulate all the newly appointed, newly elected members. Laura Kennedy for superintendency. I think you're going to do a wonderful job with this district. I'd like to congratulate Trustee Jennings and Vice President Andrade on being reappointed to that position, as well as Ms. Cubano and Dr. Salazar? Mrs. Salazar. I'd like to also speak on a moment to our newly appointed student ex officio, Ms. Lake. Dare I say that Patchogue-Medford was at the forefront of initiating this position many years ago. It's an awesome responsibility. It's a great privilege and it's a great honor. Make the most of it. You have a Herculean task of informing this board of what your peers are doing, thinking, and feeling. More so than that, get involved. Be active with this board. You have every right to do that, with the exception of a voting right and the privilege of executive session. Having said that, make the most of it. I know you can do well. You came from my old alma mater, Oregon. How could you not do well? So with that, congratulations to all of you. You're doing a wonderful job, and keep up the good work.
Anybody else? Okay, moving on.
Oh, why don't we do the...
Can I do an introduction?
We could do an introduction.
Oh, sure.
Thank you, Madam President. As the hour ticks on, I just wanted to take a moment to introduce our new Director of E&L, World Languages and Bilingual Programs, 6 through 12, Dr. Ana Fuentes Martinez. So, Ana, congratulations. Nice to have you here. We look forward to your contributions, taking over for our Michelle Marone, who's done such a fabulous job in that area. So we're looking forward to, I think you're starting on officially on August 6th? Yeah, we look forward to your contributions.
You're up. If we take out the minutes, this is what it would read. The New York State School Board Association advocates for the establishment of daily recess for all elementary students for buildings that exclusively serves, does that make sense? For buildings that exclusively serve elementary students in addition to scheduled physical education classes. Be it further resolved that NYSBA support legislative or regulatory changes that would allow recess to be counted towards the 900 hours of required instructional time per year, recognizing recess as an essential component of whole child education and student development.
Lisa's clapping down there.
That sounded okay? I will learn to be good with it. I'll learn to, I mean, I want it to pass. I do. I think that's most important. And if then it goes within school districts and figuring it out in policy, then, you know, we could always revisit something if it's not working. So if that's, you know, a better step to get it, then I'm okay with it.
That's great.
Okay.
Thank
Sounds
you,
good.
guys.
Thank you.
So do we need to take a vote to approve it?
Do we have to make a vote? What?
You do?
Yes? Okay.
Okay. I'll make a motion to accept the wording that Diana just
I
used.
second.
All in favor? Aye.
Submission tomorrow.
Yep. Okay, moving on to board comments. Trustee Salazar?
First, I'd like to welcome Ms. Kuban and Charlotte. Congratulations, and Ms. Marone. I'm looking forward to work with you guys. I'm thinking it's going to be a good couple of years. Well, one for you. Also, I'd like to congratulate and wish Ms. Canetti good luck. I know you're going to do a great job, and we're going to do the best we can to support you and carry on what we've been doing here. And I also hope that everyone enjoys their summer and spends some good time with family and friends. So thank you.
Trustee Krieger?
Okay. I want to welcome Charlotte and is it Kuban or Kuban? Okay, Ms. Kuban to the board. I want to welcome Ms. Marone and Ms. Canetti to their first well, I want to thank them for getting through their first meeting in their new and improved roles. Congratulations to Dr. Martinez Fuentes. We're looking forward to working for you, the perfect candidate for the job. Thank you to Mark and Diana for their leadership for the past year. Good luck to Kelly and Diana in their leadership in the upcoming year. And I look forward to working with you guys, and I hope everyone is enjoying their summer.
Trustee Smith?
I'm not going to repeat all the names, but yeah, welcome Charlotte. Congratulations, Lauren. Congratulations on our new officers, and congratulations, Lori Canetti. I'm really looking forward to working with you. Thank you.
I just want to thank everyone, first of all, for the extremely warm welcome. It's been a long road to get here, but I'm really excited to be here, and I just want everyone on the board, our district administrators, and our community to know that this is something that has weighed very heavy on my heart. I'm really excited to be here to do what's best for our kids, be an advocate for our kids and the amazing teachers in our district, and I really hope I can do that. But thank you so much for the warm welcome. I'm really excited to be here.
I'll piggyback on what's said before me. Congratulations to Charlotte. Congratulations to Lauren for joining the board this year. Congratulations to Kelly as president and continue serving as vice president, Trustee Andrade. Mrs. Canetti, you're going to do a wonderful job. And Mrs. Marone, congratulations on your step into this leadership role as well. And everybody enjoy their summer, and we look forward to working to prepare for school year next year. Thank you.
Okay, so welcome aboard, Charlotte, Lauren. Congratulations, Mrs. Canetti, Mrs. Marone. Thank you to everybody for the conversation. What's so great, I think, about this team is that we're not afraid to be honest with each other and just say what's on our mind, even if it's maybe not along the same lines. And sometimes it takes some compromising for things to work, but I really do appreciate everybody's feedback and being honest, like what your gut is saying. So I'm excited about this resolution. I hope that this passes through NYSBA and the rest of the school districts, and I look forward to this upcoming school year and working with the community and the board, and congratulations, Kelly.
Yeah, so congratulations, Charlotte. I look forward to working with you. Congratulations to Lauren and Francis. And then to Mrs. Canetti to work closer with you, and Mrs. Marone, hopefully for your first meeting. And thank you to Mr. Negron for your 2 years of service. as resident. And then I know we're all going to work closely together and get a lot done. So I hope everyone does enjoy their summer. So can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor? Motion adjourned.